Okay, welcome everyone. We have the Conservation Commission meeting Monday, March 18th, a little after 7 o'clock. We're in hybrid. We're going to introduce ourselves. We'll go around the table. How we start?
Lucas Karen.
Lucas,
Andy Reard.
Dennis Clark,
Norm Sheever.
Chris Pratt.
Jerry Patria.
Kevin Stowell. All right, well, welcome everyone. We will take some public comments. Anybody have any public comments? Anyone online have public comment?
I'm just letting two people in right now.
I'll ask again for people who just joined. Angelina, I see you have your hand up.
Hi, Angelina Simone, 10 Cedar Street. I heard earlier in the fall about the open space subcommittee, and I was just wondering if that's still going to happen and what's going on with that.
I am not exactly sure. We do have a member of the audience that might know more. Diane, do you have any information on the open space subcommittee?
I assume you guys have to come to us. to get
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
All right,
It's our action.
okay.
We should.
Well, I heard, yeah,
Call out there for, you have to probably have to advertise it. Anybody that wants.
well, I think it would,
Post on the
I
website.
think it would be posted on that website where all the other committees are posted. Right, okay, so we will be looking into that, Angelina, and I think that is something that's important that we do have in town. So I definitely promote having an open space subcommittee.
Thank you.
Yep, sure. Hey, Cliff, you may also
Do you have to
record.
vote?
Sure.
Vote
Um,
or no?
I don't think we voted before. You can just,
Okay, allowing.
okay. All right.
Any more public comment? There's more people that are.
Any more public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll continue.
Oh, your wife.
Yeah, forget her. All right, we'll go on to some new business. We have some public hearings tonight. Partial request for a certificate of compliance of lot 17 at the Greens East subdivision.
Is anybody here for that?
Hey, come on up. You shouldn't have a chair for people.
Intern,
Oh,
chair.
Yes,
Is the other one still broken?
bring the
Probably.
red chair right up on.
Thank you, Lucas.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Also, Brian is here on Zoom for that as well.
Okay, super.
Hi, Brian.
Okay.
Brian's down there. He's was blacked out. Can you just? Your first and last name? Sorry.
Aaron Gingileski, 250 Honeypot Road, Westfield,
Thank you.
from Crestview Construction, just here for the partial release.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just looking for a partial release request for the lot 17 subdivision.
Okay.
And what rounds are we asking for? What,
I think Brian can answer better on that.
okay,
He is on. Brian, you're muted right now. I don't know if Brian is here.
he said,
Well,
got a
he's
bus.
yeah, he's there, but I don't know if he's actually there.
oh,
Maybe he stepped away for a second.
okay,
Sorry, he couldn't be here in person. I'm kind of filling in, so.
well, that's okay.
I could speak right now. I'm just pausing to let you guys have a chance to talk.
Well, I think, yeah, Brian should have his chance first and then
Okay, give him.
give him a
another
second to come on.
We can't get it to work.
bit. Does he want me to ask him to unmute? I'll try that.
You can try maybe.
Ask to start video.
I can't meet on it. He's going to do this.
Mhm. Love technology. You want me to?
Okay, we'll have
Here's
Sabrina. Yeah, we'll listen to Sabrina.
Go ahead.
I'll just,
I'm sure you'll talk.
yes, and let me just,
And Brian, feel free to text during this to give us any communication that you feel you need to do. You have a translator at the table.
so I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm gonna attempt to put up some pictures. Where'd that picture go? Okay. Norm, can you see this in your,
Yes.
okay. So we got a request for partial certificate of compliance for lot number 17. Lot number 17 is down here to the left. The lot itself is high and dry. There are no resources on it. I have some photos of. So this is what you're seeing right here. This is lot 16, I think. We approved that late last year, along with lot 13, which is over here where my cursor is. Let's see. There were a couple things that I did notice last year when we issued the partial certificate of compliance for lot 13 and 16. 13 being over here, 16 way over here. I had noticed that this area was being used as an access point and it didn't have a track pad, nor was the curbing protected from the weight of the machinery, as well as this drain right here. I have another picture of the drain is not being maintained. So Ryan Nelson from Arlavec, he met up with me on site. We talked about these things, as well as the infiltration basins, which are acting as bio infiltration basins right now. They're filled with cattails, which is not what they're designed to do. So I did mention that to him. And he said, I think he said he was going to look into that. But as far as the tracking pad and okay, Brian is trying to get back in.
Are those functioning catch basins or those Morathi?
There is, since the pictures were taken and we were notified of this, we realized the contractor on the lot was driving in and out of all the mud, so we swept the road, cleaned everything up, put silt
Are they
sacks in the.
acting, functioning catch
Yes.
basins? They don't have Morathi?
They do have a minute now. They didn't at the time of those photos.
Can you explain what Morathi is?
Well, it's just to stop them from that, for that silt going, the
Is it
compromise.
Silt catcher that they put
Okay.
underneath the grate.
Okay.
At this
Like you're
point,
saying, the
the
bags.
system's compromised because of all that silt going in there.
Mhm.
System isn't gonna work correctly now. You're supposed to have that blocked up until it's stabilized,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're certainly gonna suck all those out when time comes to clean everything up when the construction's over. There hadn't been much activity on that road, that section of road until this point in the mud.
I'd just like to hear
Mud
Sabrina's
season.
suggestion. What would you suggest?
I mean, it's up to you guys. The lot 17 itself is high and dry, but you could use as an opportunity to sort of
Everything else. in
get
compliance.
everything else in compliance.
Sounds like a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Because we asked them to do this before.
Yeah. So
So,
now we're telling them to do it, correct?
kinda.
All right,
Mhm.
and make a motion is, oh, we didn't look for a motion, that's it.
Well, I'll take a motion if somebody has a motion.
I make a motion to table this until it is corrected, until it's acceptable, stabilized. There's no
Until the issues are taken care of.
issue.
That we
to
just
take care of,
discussed.
as stated.
So, Sabrina can put that in writing for you so that you'll know like a punch list of what needs to get taken care of.
Okay.
And we can continue this instead of having to resubmit. That way you can come back.
Okay.
For the partial release.
Normal, second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Andy, I.
Can we set up, so once we get the list, we'll set up a site visit to say
Yeah,
they're done?
Sabrina, yeah.
The,
Well, let's continue with our vote.
oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So we have a
Dennis, I. Norm, I.
Chris, I.
Jerry, I.
Aye.
Aye. Sabrina, do you want something in writing from
Unanimous.
Levesque saying that the situation has been corrected,
That would be great.
including the infiltration basin?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that would be great.
I don't know All right, yeah, we need suggestions on what to do for those.
Okay. We'll get that to you. And
Thanks
or
for coming
Lebec.
down. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
We'll do the minutes first, it's sooner or later.
I think, well, you don't have a time constraint here right now. But we could do the minutes. I like the way the reads sound.
I didn't want to get them out of the way or anything, but
It sounds like you do that. Okay, we will take a look at the minutes from March 4th.
Brenna, didn't we say we were gonna talk to Brian Drennan about the panels for the,
You may have. I don't remember off the top of my head.
well, it's. I distinctly remember that, but it's not in the minutes, so.
Okay. And what page is that on?
Hmm?
What page is that on? So Jean,
Page 3,
page 3,
Granville Gorge.
Grandpa Lodge. We said that, okay.
What do you?
About asking Brian Drennan for the roof panels.
Oh.
Or to install them, I don't know.
Where he got them.
Where we got them,
Where-
no,
where-
yeah, we wanted to make them consistent, that was it. With the ones that are at the North Pond property.
You'll send him a text right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Andy's got a typo.
Good eyes, Andy, where you got it?
North Pond recycle update, the second line. The commissioners are ready that the Girl Scouts to make a decision. The Girl Scouts agreed. So the commissioners agreed that the Girl Scouts will make the decision. We decided that they're gonna pick their box.
Are you looking at me or Jean?
Yes,
So you're looking at me, so I was looking back.
Oh, I'm just trying to hear you.
You have a questioning look on your face.
So just change already to agree. That makes more sense.
all right,
No, on my property, I thought it was agreed that the silt fencing would not be installed on the upgrading of the property line.
I don't know what it says. I didn't have time to read them.
Currently, it says it will be.
Yeah.
installed.
We did waive that.
yeah, I remember talking about that.
That's the third line.
Okay, I'll take a motion when anybody's ready.
Move to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second. All in favor, we'll start on your side, Kev.
Aye.
Jeanette, aye.
Aye.
Chris, aye.
Norm, aye.
Dennis, I. Andy, I.
Unanimous. Signature paper, you got it coming around.
There's two sides.
Okay. Okay.
We're popular tonight.
Okay. We'll move on to the next. We'll give Karen some time. Gonna move on to Mort Vining Road, 46 Mort Vining Road subdivision. Possible stormwater issues.
All right, in your folders, you have, probably the third one in, it's called flooding at 46 Mort Vining. So the owner at 46 Mort Vining was describing flooding in his backyard. Let me get a map of where 46 Mort Vining is.
Alright, thank you, Lucas.
This is with the wetlands. Nice and big. Oh. Okay, and let me share this one more time. Sharing. Norm, can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
There it is.
so 46 Mort Vining is towards the bottom left where my cursor is. It's next to where the future access way is, as well as there is a documented wetland in the back portion of their lot. So the owner was describing some new flooding, and he said that it happened ever since Val cleared the area of the trees. There is a site visit that happened between myself, Scott Patton from Tyvek Landscaping, Chris Pratt and John Goddard, representing essentially stormwater. And we had a look at the lot. I do have some photos. So over back here where my pointer is where the upgradient wetland is. Essentially, it fills up with water and pours into the backyard of this is a new building, a new lot with a house. So it floods down here and it's making its way. You can already see the erosion happening here. Let me see. Continues to go down this way. There's this little, I don't know, rock outcrop area.
There was some outfall. I think they have their downspouts leading to that spot.
Sorry, this is a little out of whack. This is back here is where the wetland is. You can see the clearing through the trees. This is another view of the erosion happening in his yard. And so the water would flow down in his yard and then down over here, and right here where my cursor is where the access road is. And you can see.
You can see there's a pretty heavy sheet flow across the
Yeah.
whole lawn. It's not just a
This was
channel.
after that heavy rainfall.
It was very wet month.
We had to, 'cause it looks pretty much like my backyard or most of the backyards in town, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
Coming from a wetland, not going into the wetland, correct?
Correct. Well, it's also going into another wetland. It's,
With silt or
It's
just with
it-
water?
Possibly.
I mean, it is running fairly heavy that it could carry
It's
silt.
been
Yeah.
has been torrential.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything's been soaked, it's.
You know,
definitely,
there's anything very heavy that's washed out, you might get some like discolored water, which is still not good. It's got still in it, but it's not like you got like. It's filling in, washing in there, like it's
Yeah.
not terrible. Like you said, it looks like 90% of backyards right now with the amount of rain we've got.
It's got all over. Can't really judge on that one rainstorm. It looks like he's already pouring water out there from his drains anyway, so
that was below,
he's got those rocks.
yeah,
Yeah, well, it's filtered out, so it's
right.
whatever's in this is the wetlands. I don't see a violation there.
No, this wasn't a violation. So this was a request to do work in the backyard to create a swale, to take all the extra water and let it flow essentially down into what looks like a newly created like stream area.
I see.
And so the question was, are there newly created resource areas out there because of construction? Or are there resource areas that weren't actually documented? This was, what was the, NRAD I think was in 2021, a dry year. I don't know if that matters that much, but
That Jeff who did those.
yes, it
Jeff-
was.
Mr. Smith, would you like to? Yeah,
Jeff did an exceptional job with
Yeah,
that
yes.
mediation.
no, just state your name, Jeff. Come on up if you want, it would be helpful. Yeah. Thanks for
Found
coming up.
wetlands out there that didn't even look like wetlands. Jeff found wetland places out there that you would have never known was a wetland. Actually, they did a perk test in one of the places that ended up being a wetland.
And it passed. Yeah, it's a tricky site and
Yeah.
there's some areas that are wet and they don't meet the criteria to be a wetland. They don't have hydric soils or the downland vegetation is not facultative or water.
Mhm.
I did go out and look at this and it's a really wet period right now. It's also, even for what, really wet, it's the worst time of year. Trees aren't taking any water up yet.
Mhm.
The ground is been either
Saturated.
frozen or saturated. You know, I understand the heights. You know, his lawn is also young. It hasn't really developed a good sod layer, and I think this problem's gonna go away. A number of things. One, things are gonna green up and it's gonna start to take the water out of the soil. His lawn's gonna get greener and thicker and lusher and take up more water. And Val will be working on that access road and that will facilitate drainage better.
Right, that's what we we're thinking. Once they get the road infrastructure set above that gradient,
Yep.
it would take care of some of that water that comes from there.
I think so, but
But
when I
I-
went out there, his lawn, there wasn't any sheet flow, but I wasn't out there during rain.
Mhm.
But the woods beyond the limit of the wetland did have standing water at the time, but.
Yeah.
When you go out there during the growing season. It's not wet, the soils aren't hydric in there, and it's all that burning bush is growing in
Oh.
that area, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's about it on that.
Okay, so what should I tell Scott then?
Well, he's looking, you know, I mean, as far as the delineation goes, um, they just want to stay within the lawn area anyway to do their work. So I think they want to come in to show us a plan of where they're going to be,
Mhm.
what they want to do to mitigate any water that does come off of there in the future. Not that they maybe don't have to do that anyway, but I think he wants to go along with the project. That's up to them to
Right.
decide.
So I can tell him these points that you had mentioned and say, submit an RDA?
The work is in a buffer zone, so, and it may be in the outer 50 feet of the buffer zone,
I
even though it
think it
seems
is.
like it's pretty wet
It's right
right
next,
now. But it's probably in the outer 50.
right, and he is in his limit of lawn as well, so I think,
Right.
The flags are still intact, still up.
Yeah, I reflagged it earlier
What you
this,
gotta do then.
Yeah.
Very good, thank
the
you.
buffer zone is flagged. Well, it's not flagged out into his yard, but it's flagged in the wooded area.
right. Those, yeah. Okay,
Thanks, Jeff.
thank you, Jeffrey.
Welcome.
All right, we have a discussion of a member having of Southwick Conservation Commission being a liaison to the Suffield Conservation Commission.
Yes. My thought
Mhm.
There are a number of issues that we've had in the past with Suffield, and this would help generate an open dialogue with them. Number one. Number two, we've got the upcoming LPP discussion with selectmen over there.
Mhm.
But it would be good to for communication purposes to work with the Suffield Conservation Commission. In addition, the the future planning that we're all working on involves the town of Suffield, particularly the Conservation Commission. So this would help work with that.
Are you talking about the town plan,
Yeah, the future plan.
okay,
Now, I brought this up at the Lake Management Committee meeting on last Thursday. And they liked the idea and they made me the liaison from LMC to the Suffield Conservation Commission. So if you're willing to designate this liaison position, I'd be willing to accept it. From the Conservation Commission, you get two birds with one stone.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I
It's a
mean,
Good idea.
would
I'd
they
like to
be,
see them Defined a little
yeah,
bit. though,
but
what
should we
the
have-
liaison is.
should we
Would they
have
be
two
reciprocating?
people, or should it be? Just a little discussion, I mean, Norm's already gonna be taking part. Should we have more than one person?
I'd like to see it defined a little bit better, maybe the.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the
Yes.
idea of the different roles,
Great idea.
you know, as far as roles go, I mean, you've definitely done your diligence on the lake stuff,
Just so we don't step on each
Right.
other's toes and have to
right?
define what that would consist of.
Yeah, I know we have done some work with the Suffield Conservation Commission before. We've seen some potential violations occurring
Yeah.
and we've gotten in touch with them.
Informally.
Yeah, but I'd like there to be that open dialogue where, oh, we're having a project that is happening on the lake and they get in touch with us
Yeah.
to let us know ahead of time,
A little more
a
formal.
little more proactive instead of reactive. Would be great. if We could have that happen.
Question,
Mhm.
would they be reciprocating? Any talk on that?
Well, I will tell you this, I've looked at some of their agendas. And their agendas are very, very short. I think because they were developed long before Suffield was totally developed, before Southwick was developed, that they've had all their wetlands issues. But their meetings are very short.
Yeah,
So I'm not so sure they
Yeah.
volunteer to reciprocate
Yeah.
our meetings, go on for an hour to 2 hours. But I think it would solidify a bond that we need to have. And if you want me to put something in writing and discuss
That'd be
it.
great, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fantastic.
That sounds like a grand idea.
yes.
It's specific to the lakes, right? So I mean, it's mostly about the lake,
Well,
or the lakes.
it would be from us
Right,
and
Right.
the canal maybe too, you know, the
Mm.
the
Right.
drainage in the canal.
so maybe a
that-
definition of what areas in particular
Yeah.
That'd be-
would help, so that you kind of refine it in that way.
Okay, I'll put something in writing and we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
Mhm. Sounds super.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, next we have on our agenda, 530 Griffin Road, LPP application variance review.
Are you gonna go back to social media first or?
Oh, yes, sorry,
Oh,
I
yeah, we
skipped over Lou just before.
Sitting there.
He does tend to
Take
skip
all
over.
the-
What's that?
Nothing?
I circled it first. I didn't mean to skip over it.
Yeah. So, I started developing the post since we got approved at the last select board meeting. And this is just kind of a trial here. This is definitely far from all of the ones I will be making. But you'll see in bold are the category of the post. And then the text underneath it is the post itself. I also left some links in here where I got the information.
Mhm.
I figured that when we go about posting these, we could put those there as well, so there's more accuracy.
Absolutely.
And besides that, I mean, I'll let you read it over. Only thing is the one that I said, why are wetlands important? That's gonna be like 3 posts. I
Okay.
spread them out because it's so much information that nobody will wanna read it all in one shot.
Correct.
It's gonna be double sided like this. Just one page, double sided.
What do you mean?
Oh, he's gonna put the post on,
Oh, like on like Facebook.
yeah,
So like
Okay,
each
so this-
post is a
yeah,
completely
these are
separate
just
thing.
different posts that he's gonna post onto those social media platforms.
You're gonna have these available for like at the downstairs, so people can, when they come in, they.
Yeah,
can
not-
See, why not? I think
Not
that's-
everybody has a computer,
That's the great idea.
yeah.
Yeah. We had discussed pamphlets
Westfield
before,
just did that,
Yeah.
they put it out and it's put in all different departments.
yeah.
Oh.
We had discussed pamphlets before, didn't we, Sabrina? About putting a lot of this information on pamphlets
Maybe you could put a little color on it so people see it, you know?
Yeah.
and maybe a link to the
Picture.
social media platform.
Hmm. Yeah,
On
I could
here,
definitely
just
work
to
on
connect
something like
people
that,
a little bit better.
just to make it a lot prettier.
And also we have that, you know, QR code for the open space areas in town usage and things like that, that you could maybe incorporate somewhere. Would be nice.
That's a good work, thank you.
Yeah,
Cool.
So with the social media, we are able to pre-schedule up to a decade of posts. So each one of these would be a post.
oh, so when he leaves, that would,
Yeah,
It
you
would
it
can
would
continue.
continue to
use
post
that.
after Lucas.
It could, we could, so this is the beginning. I asked him to work on something so you guys can read it, approve it, and then it will go to select board, right? Is it to select board after that? So just read it and
Oh, so
approve
you
it.
can just-
Yeah. I think you already
So
went
read it and prove it so he can get it in motion. So these are the beginning posts. This isn't just it.
Yeah, because I also down here, I left a couple more titles
Mhm,
that I
that
didn't
he
get a
wants to
chance to
work
do
on.
before
Right.
the meeting. And there'll be a lot more.
there. Mhm.
Should we schedule these to repeat?
You can.
Come out every January, that every February, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be an
think-
annual
Like an
schedule.
annual, yeah,
I think that.
yeah, because some
is
things are very
awesome.
important during the spring, some more important in the fall.
Mhm.
And recycling isn't bad, you know, new people tune in various
I
times.
think we could add a little section about what jurisdictional areas are, as far as the 200-foot buffer, 100-foot buffer, 50-foot buffer.
Yeah, we could-
Absolutely.
yeah, and that
People are
could
a
just
little
stay up.
confused about that. If the river, you know, is the lake 200-foot? No, it's 100-foot, you know, but a lot of people think it's 200 feet,
Oh.
because the rivers are. 200
And the
feet.
floodplain too, they have to be careful of as well.
Well, yeah, if we
Like,
could add a little definition there.
So technically, it's not a 200-foot buffer. It's protected under the Wetland Protection Act, like the other resource areas.
Correct. Right,
Sorry,
No,
that's what
no,
we said.
I just learned that, so
Yeah.
that's why it's like my pet peeve now, because I've been saying buffer as well.
Okay. All right, looks good, Lucas.
thank you.
Westfield's redoing their buffer area, because before it was restricted, couldn't do anything in the 50-foot buffer as a resource area.
Yeah.
Now they're proposing to have, just proposing, I don't think it's gonna happen, to have 3 different areas. A would be nothing could happen to 50-foot, B, some things could happen in a 50-foot area, and C. If it's to enhance the buffer, if it's to enhance the wetland, it's okay.
Mhm.
You might wanna think about something.
Yeah.
like that.
And do some peer poaching.
So do we need to approve these specific ones so he can start rolling with what he wants to do? Is that?
I think that's what we're
Yeah,
looking for.
so, you know, we'll read it through right now like we do our minutes. And if you have,
Yeah.
Okay.
See if there's,
Pretty much
And then we can-
boilerplate stuff, and
then we can vote. I mean, I read it.
Yeah.
I'm good with it, but if any,
Yeah.
you know, I think people might want
I'd make a motion for it.
to, okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
This isn't a hurry tonight.
oh,
I don't mind it.
let's hope we don't do any mistakes.
Who was the second,
Okay,
Andy or Kevin?
because-
Kevin,
Okay, so
Andy, I.
Dennis, I.
Norm, I.
Chris, I.
Jerry, I.
Where's it gonna start?
Honestly, as soon as you give me approval, I'll start putting things in, finding some nice pictures. Pictures are the most important part.
Right. Okay, we're good to go.
Thank you, Lucas.
Of course.
All righty then. Okay, now we'll move on to 530 Griffin Road, LPP application variance review,
Chris, is this one that was just added to the agenda today?
correct?
I have a problem, I have a fundamental problem with things going on the agenda the day before or the day of the meeting. I don't think it's good politics, I don't think it's good policy, I don't think it's fair. And I really don't think it's fair to throw a bunch of paperwork at commissioners several hours before the meeting and tell them to review it for the meeting.
And this is
I
fairly
don't,
comprehensive.
I don't think there's a reason for that to happen. And, I'm just against it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order to make here,
Okay,
which I believe takes precedence over the other. Every other motion or anything on the table. When I reviewed what had happened today. I went back to look at the open meeting law. And make sure that we're in compliance with it. And my definition of what I believe is we're not in compliance with it, but I believe I have a solution.
okay,
Okay, all meeting notices must be posted 48 hours ahead of the meeting, not including Saturday and Sunday. And they must be time stamped when they get posted. Okay? And then it goes on, and I'm gonna read a little bit here. If a notice is revised, which ours was, the revised notice must be conspicuously record both the date and time of the original notice was posted, as well as the date and time of the last revision was posted. Reporting the date and the time enables the public to observe that public bodies are complying with the open meeting laws notice requirements without requiring constant vigilance. Additionally, in the event of a complaint, it provides the Attorney General with the evidence of compliance with those requirements. I checked the revisions that were posted after lunch today. Okay, so that's how late it was. They were not timestamped. The original timestamp was there, but the revisions were not. So there's an error we got in the clerk's office that has to be fixed.
I'm sorry, what was not time stamped?
the revision.
Revisions need to be timestamped.
They were,
No, they weren't. Not the ones that were posted. Good.
I stamped them.
They were stamped with the original post. When it gets revised, it has to have stamped
They
again.
were.
This has been done before, Norman, a few times, and I just don't
Yeah.
consider it a good
Okay.
policy.
All right, so let me read on, okay? If a discussion topic is proposed after a meeting notice is posted, and it was not reasonably anticipated by the chair more than 48 hours before the meeting, the public body should update its posting to provide the public with as much notice as possible of what subjects will be discussed during the meeting. Although a public body may consider a topic that was not listed in the meeting notice, if it was not anticipated, the Attorney General strongly encourages public bodies to postpone discussion and action on topics that are controversial or may be of particular interest to the public if the topic was not listed in the meeting notice. Okay, now we know that I don't believe the neighbors were notified of this change. But here's what I recommend. And the reason why we're doing this tonight is two people that are supporting this can't be at the next meeting. So I think we can get by the open meeting law. If we allow those people to speak tonight, we can ask questions, but no discussion, no debate. At the next meeting, we can replay the tape after after all the neighbors are properly notified. We can replay the tape to hear what those people had comments that can't make the meeting. And then we can finish the discussion at the next meeting. And then secondarily, I also agree getting a 40-page report in the afternoon of an evening meeting is unfair to the commission to properly digest.
I agree with that. That's a big pile of paper.
So I think if we decide to take action on this tonight, we are in violation, and I think the Attorney General will have to be notified.
Norm, you're familiar with the local permitting process, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been around for a while. If a person doesn't agree with the commission's decision, the select board are the arbitrators. And I believe this has been taken to the select board from what I read. So wouldn't that mean they are the arbitrators now, and it's out of the Conservation Commission's hands? They can make suggestions, but I believe that it's gone to arbitration now that. You know, if you take it to the next step. It's out of our hands, basically.
I'm not sure if that means. Exactly what's happening here as far as a variance is concerned. I think if they're denied. Access to the lake or
Denied
denied.
a variance, she was denied a variance, she's appealing it, she appealed it to the select board. If you read the local permitting, if you read the paperwork, it says the select board would be the deciding party at that point.
I think if they're denied a permit altogether.
You did deny the permit, denied.
Well, we didn't deny a permit, we denied the variance.
The variance is a permit.
Well,
Yeah.
it still allows them to
You
get
permit
a.
somebody to do something that they.
No. What we did is we told the applicant to move their dock.
To get it in compliance, correct?
To get in
They weren't Within the
compliance.
20, they were within the 25, and then we told them to get into compliance.
That's correct.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what I
So we-
remember.
We didn't have a variance to approve, we just told them to move the dock.
So the variance was never denied?
There's never a
We
variance
basically told them to get
requested.
into compliance.
Yeah, see, we got all these questions and it's just too much for us to digest before the meeting. I agree with Norm. If they want to make some statements, then I don't have a problem with that, but I don't want to have discussion about it tonight.
Okay, well, we need a motion or.
And,
Yeah.
This application that you have today is a new application for 2024. It is not about the old application. This is an application with a request for an exception due to a handicap hardship. That has nothing to do with the fire.
So we haven't seen this application
Yeah.
until tonight.
Yeah. I don't believe you're in violation of open meeting law. This is not a public hearing that requires notification of neighbors. This is a single applicant requesting her situational exception.
Still doesn't change the fact that it's not proper procedure. I mean, whether it's legal or not, it's not a good way to do business. To come at the last minute and have a meeting.
That was good. That was, as you said, that was a timing issue. It just can't
I
happen.
think that Norm has offered a solution or a compromise.
Well, I'll listen to what other people have to say as well. I mean. I feel there's a lot of information here to digest and make a decision tonight. There's a packet of paper. That we haven't been able to really review. And I've seen some of it before from. Last year's discussion.
So we could hear it tonight and then not vote on it tonight. We have to hear it again, bring it up.
I think it's important that we do no hear, but no discussion.
Hear no discussion.
I don't want to put a motion out until anyone else wants to speak.
Anybody else want to comment?
I think it's a good idea, because I think this is gonna take up some time, so.
A comment, yeah.
Yeah,
Comment
Chief
could be a
Landis here
discussion.
tonight.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here as the harbor master this evening, and I was asked to look at this a couple months ago. So I agree with Mr. Clark. I wouldn't anticipate a decision. There is a lot here, and there are butters that have to take some of this into context. So I just want to share with the board, the group, what that I've gathered from some background, and by all means, you know, I don't know that tonight would be proper, because there is a lot. But I think I might have something that will really all parties that have an interest in this can kind of digest, and again, it's a negotiation that nobody gets everything they want, so you're gonna have to decide what hill they're gonna die on, so I just want to throw that out there.
All right. Thank you, Harbor Master Landis.
So I was able to contact two of the association members that I see. I think both of them are
Oh,
on tonight.
I mean,
so
that's-
just letting you know that
yeah.
some people were
They were
notified.
but we don't have a. They didn't have time for discussion or anything about what they thought as their board, maybe too, might be a good thing.
Right, everything was last minute.
Right, so I think, you know, Norm has an idea. I think a lot of us have the same feeling. There's a lot of information here tonight, and Norm was thinking of making a motion. You're ready for the motion if you would like to make.
Okay. I move that we open the hearing to hear the comments from the people that cannot attend the next meeting. And that we will take no action and no discussion except for asking the questions for further information.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? We'll start down here with the Matt.
Aye.
Aye,
Dennis, I,
Andy, I.
okay, that's unanimous. And I suppose we should probably ask the people that are not gonna be able to make the next hearing if they would like to come up and talk at this time.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
before that? I realize this is a brand new thing as compared to last year.
Well, every year is a new thing.
Is it
yeah.
basically the same gist as it was last year? Basically the same kind of discussion? The problems that were here last year are the problems that are being presented to us now in this 40-page thing? Is
Has
that it?
nothing to do with the neighbors.
No, my question is it
It's about
basically,
where the dock needs to be located.
exactly, and that's my question.
Mhm.
Is it exactly like it was the last time it was presented? Because we remember what it was, and that'll give us a better understanding of what we're looking at now.
would her boat still be on the Connecticut side? Because that was the problem. Not where the dock was, but where the boat was.
Right.
I mean,
The boat will be on the Connecticut side.
right, on somebody else's, front of somebody else's property,
That's her, that's her property.
the Connecticut side,
It's my
Hers
property.
is the Connecticut side.
Hers is the Connecticut.
Right.
Right.
the homeowners association,
That's the
It's the
Massachusetts
Southwick.
side.
Massachusetts side.
Correct.
I have pictures that show that that's not a true statement.
Just before we start that,
Mm.
can I just clarify on the agenda, this is not listed as a public hearing.
Can I ask if we can name participants and have their addresses be made public?
Nancy Drury, 530 Griffin Road,
Thank you.
Diane Gale, 5 Smith Road Road.
That's the mess. Pretty backwards.
That's like that.
That's where we put our RDAs and otherwise.
Hmm?
That's where we put our RDAs and otherwise.
Um,
We're under new business.
I got you.
Go ahead, backwards.
It's in the wrong spot. What's the story? It's a,
I just did the same thing on that, and I did that when I
So
looked over the
under
agenda.
public, that's usually where we have our NOIs or RDAs, public hearings, but it's under new business.
So Jerry, your question was, is this application the same as the application?
Is it the
that came
same,
in last
is
year?
it the same basic discussion we had last year?
The
This-
same configuration?
Mrs. Drury is asking
Yes or
for
no question?
the shortest possible distance across.
Yes or no
the thing.
question? Is it the
We-
same
we
as
were
last
asked-
year's?
She was asked to file her application demonstrating her hardship to not have the boat 25 feet over. She's asking it to be at 8
So this is the same as last year's application.
in the same rough location. She already moved it over 10. It's not 8, it's at 10. I have pictures of it. See,
So it's 2 feet further than the one.
it was last year. And it was
Not-
last year.
Not the same as last.
It was,
That's
it
kind of-
was
is it-
10 feet last year.
Thanks.
It was 10 feet last year.
It was 10 feet last year, so it is the same.
What I'm getting at is, was there a compromise made?
We're not here about that. We're here today, as we were asked, to demonstrate the hardship she continues to have due to her disability and where the dock
All right.
needs to be to accommodate that hardship.
Who asked for that, Diane?
Your chairperson.
You asked for her to prove it.
To
Yeah, I mean, I don't see where,
demonstrate the hardship, and that's.
Yeah,
what
and
she
I don't
was
see
presented
where-
to.
she's been able to do that. I mean, walk a couple more feet on the same kind of surface. I don't see,
She has demonstrated the dock's maximum location in depth in the water, stability of the shoreline. She has demonstrated, she's got documentation, she has provided you documentation about walking handicaps across the sands. The dock has to be stable. It can't move over any farther without being an unstable dock surface for her to get to her boat on.
I never had a question about her handicap.
Well, that wasn't
News
brought up
debate.
before. That was another question I had is why wasn't that brought up before? It was, something new where didn't make sense, is that should have been the first.
My only question is why could it not be moved into compliance? And if they have documentation of why it can't move into compliance, we'll look at that, and see.
Right.
We have that in here. There is an
Never questioned
issue with the dock.
Ability, believe it.
There's an issue with the dock mobility itself. It is not a folding dock. I understand a lot of them fold up and pivot and you can rotate them in and out. This one is not. If she has to, she can't move it over. There are physical terrain barriers. She has a retaining wall. She had a retaining wall put in. It wasn't satisfactory to someone. Someone told her to put in a lower retaining wall, which ate up her land surface. That dock cannot go in and out. There is no room to pull it out. There's about this much depth to the water. It doesn't, it can't maneuver there.
Not about a chapter 91 type of dock for that area.
I think we mentioned it last year. $75 application for
This
15 years.
board has the authority to make a handicap accessible exception.
Mhm.
Two sections or one solid thing or?
It's
two?
one solid dock.
There's two, but they're joined. And they're secured together, they don't bend.
It's a roller, right?
So it just rolls out as one piece?
And then the handicap ramp thing folds up onto the dock, and I can unfold that and put that in the sand. But as it rolls all
All in
continuously.
one piece.
All in one
Right,
piece.
and you have to.
Connected.
Yeah,
Right.
So the application says 2 docks.
And more,
Swim platform.
swim platform.
Oh, sorry, there it's only one dock,
Yeah. Okay.
sorry.
I think you have an email from the dock company in your package as well. That indicates that it cannot be moved any deeper.
It won't touch the bottom. Then
So
they'll ship
here's
it.
my question is last year you had said it was 4 feet depth.
That's on the other side.
Right.
Where it's not stable bank. That's on the top, that's over here.
And again, that is where there is no land
No,
area
Way over here.
to do it.
I thought last year,
This
or
one
last,
down.
wasn't there discussion about getting extensions? We're saying it can't be.
That's the dock company that says it is the
I
max
already
it
bought,
can be.
I already bought the docks. It's already there.
She did that to move it
Yeah.
to the 10 feet
But
last
This is
year.
open here, unless they got.
Yeah, and it rolls,
One, two.
and it rolls.
connected,
Yeah, it rolls up.
Flat sound.
Yep. And then when you park them, you gotta pull them out and have them on land. They're not very, they don't bend, they don't turn,
Yeah,
you need one. You know,
I have some photos I'd be glad to. If
Everything.
you wanna see them on, if you
I
wanna
think you
see
can
the
still,
share.
I think you can still share.
Yeah.
If not, I'll change the settings. So is this the association? Okay.
that's the,
yeah, I read that.
right.
For her particular location. You can't move it.
Right.
Do you know what year that was?
Oh, But anyway,
This last year,
I believe this is a picture from, last year.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
You can see this monument right here. That was the state line.
Can I go up to that and
Sure.
Wait for you. This pile of rocks right here. There is a town of Suffield, state of Connecticut pipeline under there. That runs straight up the hill to the state line markers up the hill and to the next state line marker further up the hill. In a straight line. Suffield did not put their pipes in Suffield. This is the state line.
Then we need a survey. Well, because this is a state market.
you need Suffield to tell you that they put their pipeline in Southwick
Or that
and that they're
boundary
paying
marker.
taxes to Southwick. Is what you need.
Did you say that your property, some of it was on Southwick? It's all in Suffield?
all in
Oh,
Suffolk,
okay.
as well as the
Okay.
house directly behind me.
It's all, okay.
And if I would pay taxes to Southwick, if where the marker.
And I know you've all seen the Southwick town property maps that show that straight line in Southwick.
But those are
Coincidentally,
just the,
Connecticut shows that same line as their state line. They would not put their pipeline in Southwick without Southwick knowing it.
Any idea when that was done?
2000,
Really? That recent?
oh yeah,
Huh?
I'll go ask
2018
If he knows. Want to come up and join us?
18 or 19, I think.
I think Luke is this chair.
Fairly recent.
So
Yeah.
I have a call into the first selectman, because I did some digging on that project, because my same question is when you look at it, you'll see the drainage that leads down to the lake to that rock pile. And my question has been, why would Suffield have done this project if it was in Massachusetts? So they've had a change in DPW directors over the last couple of years. This was done probably in the last 4 years or so, maybe a little longer. But, I called the first selectman this morning to try to get, supposedly he's got some background on it. So I'm waiting to hear on that. I've looked at the pictures, ones that you've been showing, and some of the pictures that when the application for the Association Beach was put in, it was showing the boat offset onto the Massachusetts line, which is what your pictures are showing. And they're saying here, they're showing it about a 2 foot offset into Massachusetts. What I'm asking the board to consider and the association and everybody here at the table is that if this set of rocks, which in it is definitely some mechanics from this drainage system that Suffield put in, if this isn't accurate or somewhat accurate, which it does line up with the survey marker that's up on the hill, and everybody can live with that, because that thing's not going away, right? That marker is gonna be there, that utility is gonna be there. I believe Ms. Drury is of the opinion that she will be able, if we're calling that the boundary line, my idea is I do not doubt her disability, nor do I think anybody here does it. So if we could come to terms that this is a good boundary marker without having to make, because if we're gonna make her do a survey, then it's gonna affect potentially the beach on the other side of it. So my thought is, if we can go use this as a marker to accommodate what she's asking for her disability, shortest access point to her dock, that it can be positioned in a way where the boat and the dock do not encroach on that boundary line, but run parallel to it. It doesn't affect the swimming area of we've done this in other areas around the town for various reasons, water depths, a lot of different reasons. So this is just, again, something I'm giving to you guys to think. If the juries are in favor of it, if the association is in favor of it, because it does bring the boat back onto the Connecticut side.
Right.
But it gives her the shortest amount of travel. Then hopefully this is something that we can live with. And that's where I'm at.
I have an aerial view here. From last summer. Here's the area right here. This is Murray's dock, this is the association dock, they have two boats, and then there's Mrs. Murray's boat.
It's very
That's
close.
too
You pull up the
close.
one I gave you, Sabrina?
But he's
You have-
presenting.
Just for relative, distances, this dock is a 2-foot dock. So you can see between these two boats, there's probably 18 inches.
That's tight.
And that
That's a navigational
Yeah, you can't,
hazard in my,
yeah, you can't get,
so if we keep it the way it was, we have a problem.
So,
No,
sorry,
One person at a time. So if you want to be recognized, just put your hand up. Sure. Okay, Sabrina?
do you know exactly when that picture was taken? Okay.
I don't believe it. Go back and check, but
you have the one I,
see them.
It's in the packet, I think. I don't know.
okay, so you all have the one in your packets?
Yeah, it's in black and white.
This is another aerial view of the same docks, which shows harmony in the harbor. And harbor master agrees.
And based on, I guess, our discussion, it still would go over a little further.
Mhm.
We've been going under the assumption that we knew where the boundary.
Right,
line was.
and I'm saying this would be
That's
our
what-
boundary line if everybody would agree.
Rather than
Yeah,
going
we
through
agree.
the
Yeah.
whole procedure, trying to get it surveyed.
Yeah.
seems
Get
like
the
a
stakes back and
compromise and a
forth.
solution.
And that's what
Photos
you're.
even with the,
It's the angle of the smaller dock.
old position, and this is the 8-foot over position.
I believe Mr. Reynolds had requested that through,
Yeah, because, yeah, the photos we've been seeing on the screen
Yep.
is the
Can you
original.
share
forward
that?
position. This
Can you
photo
reshare your
is this
photos?
8-foot over position,
I have no idea of the date of that one or this one,
but we know what position.
but we can see that we have harmony.
And I would assume that would be the difference there.
This dock
We're gonna
is
have a boat in
angled
the middle?
completely different.
Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah.
In
it's,
the photo that was just up there before, that dock was angled like this.
It looks like both of them are different.
Oh, yeah, and this is her and that's that.
It looks like in that one, both of them are kind of like this, and the other one, they're kind of like that.
So look at that photo there.
I don't know what happened. Did the wind like blow them?
Their dock
So
is
this
an
one's juries,
Yeah.
and then this one's the association, right? And so they're both like,
So this isn't even from last year.
Picture.
So it's not from, it's before last year.
Oh, how long is your retaining wall?
So,
20 at 1920. But the reason when that photo was taken, their dock didn't have the legs, even he had floaters on the end of his dock, which kept floating over because it wasn't anchored. So his, the dock of the association dock, the legs of, even though they're the identical docks, because the deep water kit is not on that dock, so the legs didn't go all the way down to the bottom. So he had two blue barrels on the end of the dock. So the dock was floating and it wasn't anchored. So as depending on when that picture was taken, is if it's windy, it was closer to our boat.
Mm.
And if it was not windy, it wasn't. So the dock needs to be permanently, like, have longer legs and sit on the bottom of the bottom of the, whatever it is, the bottom of the lake. Having the barrels floating without an anchor is, the wind over there is incredible. So
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Thank
is
you,
there
Trent.
any way you could park your boat on the east side of the dock?
I can't park the boat on the east side of the dock because the door is not on the right side and I don't have that right. And backing it in is a safety hazard for
Because we,
the swimmers and my grandchildren that
Mhm.
I don't think we want them playing with propeller.
we actually had a precedent with that on North Pond where we just asked the gentleman not to park on a certain side of the dock to solve the problem that was going on as a compromise. And I was just wondering if that might
Mhm.
be,
And I
I mean,
think
I-
that was something we did discuss last year as well.
you know,
Unfortunately, there's.
because
no
that
way
would,
to-
that would open the clearance up. It
Right.
looks
But-
like less than 10 feet between boats and open water here. A little
But
windstorm,
I'm-
crash.
Well, if it's
Mm.
anchored, if the dock itself is anchored, it doesn't tend to float anywhere.
True. But-
And he has a Hewitt dock, which we have a Hewitt dock,
Mm,
and you buy the deep water kit, which allows the legs to go.
They're both on stanchions.
Yeah, they're huge and there's a
Mhm.
V like,
Would it be possible to angle your dock?
That was
Or-
another thing we talked, this is
or
the
Yeah.
the
first time that this
code?
happened.
this is the picture of with my dock. Having it's this, when he came to the committee, he said, I didn't move my dock at all. And right there underneath the dock is the drain thing.
Mhm.
And then you can
That's
see,
the old.
Old
Oh,
picture.
you're straddling
Old
it in that
status.
picture, okay.
and
yeah.
then here, you can see that we're on the rock is there and the dock's over
Okay.
here.
So, okay,
So I did move,
that's previous and this is now.
correct, and I did move it over
Hmm.
as requested, and at the meeting that I had with you, he said I did not. And that's been very concerning that it's actually, I did move it.
Well, you got
That
pictures.
you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's over, what, like 3 feet?
Well, that's pulled out of the water now.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when it goes back in, my boat and the dock will not be on the math side at all. And I am a member of this association, just
Yes,
so,
I mean, this picture
It's
certainly
prior.
shows me that the boat is in Massachusetts.
well, that was prior to the
Years ago.
years
The new
ago.
picture.
That was prior to moving it.
Where's the new picture with the boat on? Do we have it?
There's something that it's still to me, the boat needs to come over a little further, but that's a little closer. I'm just using that as a reference.
Yeah, right off the pontoon.
Yeah.
You bring it over to, a little, feet over and call that your marker. If that's again what everybody could agree on, I think you'd have ample room.
The other thing we have to be aware of is where the boundary goes out into the water. So it's a straight line from the boundary on land into the water.
Right, and then
So,
it's directs on the other side of the lake and it falls straight across the lake. So it doesn't go at an angle. It goes straight from that point, straight across. So, because all those homes are Suffield, so. And my
Yeah.
total house is in Suffield, and
no, we understand that.
You also have in your packet some photos of the limited land mass that she has to maneuver herself.
So I guess
Yeah,
that's something
yeah,
that I'm
no.
not aware of or had a hard time with. So can I just get a look at that picture?
you have it in your packet.
Okay,
That one's involved.
we didn't look at it.
Updated color.
So you know, I turned it in on Monday of last week.
Jerry, you been out there and look at it?
That was yours.
No, but I can see what's going on right
I'd
here.
like to go out, take a look at it.
Yeah, we
Would
could
you
do
like to go
that.
Out there. We
That might be a good idea.
take a
Sure.
look
Yeah, I
at
mean,
it.
it'd be definitely helpful to be able to understand it more thoroughly. I did think there was more beachfront here in front. I didn't know there was a second wall.
We had to put it in a second, we were required.
So, just to let
At
you know,
Southwick.
the
Southwick made a
association
second wall.
property is only 60 feet wide,
50.
50 feet wide.
You would like to see the deed?
Well, I am wide.
I have the deed.
Well, anyway, 50 or 60.
It's not very
60.
wide.
Either way.
It means they don't have a lot of flexibility where they can move their down.
Well, they're the 20-foot marker.
Yeah, they should be somewhere in the middle.
You know, and we approved them just last fall.
Right.
Well, the fall
prior.
two. So last year was the first time they had. it.
We're not asking them to move their boats. This is her.
No,
I'm
we're
just,
yeah.
just throwing out that there aren't a lot of options we can use working with the association to help solve this problem.
Right.
Okay.
I like the chief's idea where if the boat and everything can be on the Connecticut side, it should be a good enough compromise if we can make that happen.
That would be.
Yeah, I think, it'd be
That
nice
way
to
you're
go
not-
out and,
I mean,
and
technically you
get
can't be
some eyes on
25
it.
feet away
Let's
because
go
of the
take a
precision
look at
way.
it and we'll
Understand that. But
take
to
into
appease, to
consideration all the
compromise,
details that
if you could
presented.
do what he suggested, it
Make
might be
sure that the
easier to.
butters are well informed at the
Yeah.
next
Well,
meeting.
like weeks ago.
We want to make sure that the butters are informed that
Right.
we're having the next meeting.
That would be
Is
the,
there one person that's in charge of the association?
Oh,
Is there a president or somebody?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
We should-
there is.
We should just deal with the president,
Right.
not have a whole
Well,
committee of people.
Well,
Right.
she's on Zoom.
I like
today.
that idea.
is it
Who is
Betty
the-
or
who's the
Joe?
president?
No,
That's
it's
a good
it's
idea.
Sandra.
Oh,
Have
Sandra.
them just send a
Okay, so if you
representative.
could come to the
Yeah.
next
She's
meeting.
actually on Zoom, right?
Betty,
Oh, it's
yeah,
like, we're not gonna discuss it tonight.
Yeah,
For
we're
the next meeting.
Right now, we're just asking questions and stuff and trying to get a feel for.
Betty Ayotte should also be invited. She's the neighbor on the other side of the association.
Was
She's not in a butter.
I don't know.
But she could be part of the solution.
Oh, if the association was able to move closer to her side,
That's correct.
is what he's saying. If she would allow that.
The problem once it's all over.
So I think it's important for them, for everybody to know the applicant and the abutters. I know with another parcel we dealt with, the state has said, and we're a callback from them too, though, is any unresolved issue with regards to if we're saying we don't know where this boundary, if we have an argument on boundary lines, they, when going through their, going to the state, they will not approve anything until it's resolved in land court. So this can affect both docks. So like,
Right.
that's why I'm trying to
You
say,
stay out of land court.
let's figure out a way
Right.
To get
that
tied
we
up.
can all live with this.
Right.
And
Seems like we should be able to come to some kind of reasonable.
Yeah, I think it would be good,
Right.
I'm
you know,
all
put
about
eyes on the
compromise.
terrain and the amount of frontage there, the way that it's set up.
Right.
Cause this picture
I think that
is a little bit of an eye opener to me.
Harbor Master's objective about this, and
Absolutely.
we've resolved quite a few different disputes through the Harbor Master previously, getting little situations like this to move over a couple feet this way.
Right.
So this is another photo. Okay, this is Nancy's house, Nancy Dory's house. This is the
Okay.
association property here, and this is Betty's house and Betty's dock system. Okay, so she should be invited because perhaps we can shift this further to the right. And then the dock that comes in here could be shifted to the right. And might satisfy everybody's needs. But they all have to be in agreement.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a matter of compromise.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Situation.
Oh, yeah.
Is she the last one before the canal? There's no more
No,
houses,
there's-
right?
there is-
Additional house.
Yeah, there's one more.
Do they have a dock?
Yeah, but
Yeah, this is her dock.
So it's pretty,
Several.
This is Betty's
Way-
house.
The
Yeah, I
next door, the
understand
blue
that,
house,
but
yeah.
next door, like if she moves that
To
over.
the
I
right.
think it's way, way.
yeah, that's
Toward
far,
the
far
canal.
enough away,
Far
but
enough,
they have
okay.
a lot of lily pads in front there.
Yeah, they're in the
Live
lily
there,
pad
those-
zone.
Yeah,
She's welcome.
yeah. So she could be part of the solution.
Yeah. You can invite her not formally as an abutter, but as a possible solution.
Yeah.
Other questions?
That's a.
Do you need any?
No, I
other
think we should
information?
set up a site visit,
I don't know if that one is.
and go out and
Yeah.
get some better eyes on.
Clarifying things for us, 'cause there's a lot of stuff that was kind of vague, but now I
Kind of
have
vague.
much better insight to.
I think we will be able to see even better when we get over there.
Do
Okay, we have a,
want we as in you guys, this to be on the next agenda? Or the following agenda?
well, we'll find out when people can make the site visit.
And one other point of order, didn't we already approve their association setup last year?
Yes,
So
Wasn't last year.
how do we undo that?
well,
Well, they have to.
there's
apply for
nothing to
it.
undo.
No, every year you apply for a new,
Every year it's new.
okay, every
Alright.
year. it's new.
Yeah, they just had to do
Ask
the
good
RDA
questions.
for the initial.
So we should not delay too long because both the docks are gonna be starting to go in the
Oh, yeah.
water. So we wanna resolve this before docks go in the water. So it should be on the next meeting.
We'll set up a time.
That's good. We'll go out and visit. Anybody have the time recommended?
Your boat in the water yet?
No.
Hmm.
They
We're
can
walking.
drive there.
We're walking.
Or walking?
Drive there.
The other piece of
It's a short
information that would be very helpful is to know what the actual depth of the water is in front of Nancy's house,
They are,
out so many feet. I have the maps that say
That's
it's
true.
5 to 10 feet, but
Yeah.
be nice to know how much leeway we have.
Hewitt Dock came out and actually went down, and that's why I said on my first thing to the Conservation Commission that I'd have to do $3,300 for Levesque to get the permit for the Title 91 dock.
Right.
And I would have to have a permanent dock because there's no docks, legs that go long enough for the stability.
Right.
No,
And I can't do a
Yeah.
floating dock.
Understand?
So,
I
So-
believe you said when they first came out, they came out and they selected.
Right.
This was the.
The ideal
stable
spot.
spot.
And I misunderstood.
Cadillac of docks, I have
they're great.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm a landlubber, so.
But mine, I can pivot. I don't have the wheels on the front. We pick ours up and I can pivot mine
Oh.
whichever way.
No, ours.
I want-
And I know there was some question, which I found very hurtful about how disabled I am. And I didn't know if you guys needed that information.
No.
I think it's,
I don't need it.
I think.
I
it's
know,
already
Well,
not-
so I believe, we all believe you're disabled.
No, I-
But as far as a legal document, I was thinking that maybe we would need some documentation in case somebody came at us and said, you just believe anybody that says it, you know, I mean,
Well, I have it. I would give it to you and you can keep it in confidence.
I don't think you should.
No,
Yeah.
I don't,
We don't
need
need
to.
That's
I don't-
now we believe you're disabled, there's no
Yeah,
question.
that's
Just
another.
as far
matter.
as-
Show them your placard and your driver's license, that'd be my guess.
That-
So do you need a motion to table this?
We're gonna
Yeah, until we can.
continue it till next meeting, but we need to set up also a site visit.
Can you guys set it up now?
Weekend or?
Sure, anytime,
Yeah, I mean, that would be,
anytime.
yeah, okay,
Just tell me what time
Saturday
and
morning?
what time.
Saturday morning's fine with me.
Wait a
No,
second.
not Randy.
Hold on. I thought you guys were out of state.
Huh?
That is when we have our budget hearing.
I'm out of state this weekend.
Budget hearing.
That's this weekend?
Saturday.
It is.
Yes.
Saturday, 8 AM.
Go right,
Let's go right after.
right after, huh?
Now you got
We'll
to
go to the budget hearing first, then go to the.
Yeah, we'll go right after that.
Great.
Are you gonna wait for me?
Sure. What time?
After
Awesome.
budget hearing,
What time though?
if it
2:30?
goes fast, 12:30, 1 o'clock.
12:30.
I like that.
I mean, if you make it 2 o'clock, we should be safe,
I can sleep.
just in case, like,
We want to make it 2 o'clock?
just in case conservation goes over, you know?
Do you want me to, do you want me to check with my neighbors or do you just need to see my stuff?
So I'm in Philadelphia.
I don't think
so
we
I
need to see
won't
it. I'm interested more in the basin in front of your house.
Oh.
Is what I want to see. That's, and that, one of those pictures showed me something that was more eye-opening than,
And just remember
Alright.
that it kind of curves in so
We'll
that,
see it.
yeah, yeah.
So our due diligence.
So you're saying
Yep.
2 o'clock on
Saturday.
Saturday?
2 o'clock
Saturday,
Saturday.
2 p.m.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, let's do 2
So we're
o'clock.
going right from the meeting.
Well,
Oh, Diane must.
Diane would like to
I'm
come.
part of the meeting, it
I
doesn't.
know
get
you
over
have to
for
be
me
here
until-
till-
Yeah, so she has to stay for the whole thing.
Chief, are
I
you
figured we
available?
could go home for lunch first and
believe I
then,
am Right now, without knowing for sure, but I would say yes. so
From a-
every-
From a safety point of
Yep.
view, we get your input, you know, it'd be good.
Possibly.
I can be there.
Committee.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we have enough of us that can show up. Those who can, please come.
Been there more than once.
Yeah. Okay.
So just an idea here. Because so often these things come and then eventually we do reach a compromise and everything goes well. Is there a way, that's just assuming all the best, you know? A way to mark, a permanent mark on the coast of where these things will go out of moving forward from here to forever,
GPS it.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, because,
Well,
you know,
Well,
10 years from now.
but next year she
somebody
has to
else
also come in
gets
for
it,
the,
And then they decide to put it,
Yeah.
you know, a foot over or 2 feet this way. That should be like, no, you put your dock here from here on out.
Sabrina can GPS it.
yeah, I mean,
I
With
mean,
my
really,
phone,
that would be
anyway, we'll
useful.
The rocks and-
well, we have the
It's not
rocks
gonna
to
move.
mark it, and then we have the distance from there that it comes in every year on the application, how far she's gonna be from that
I
borderline.
mean,
where the
it'll
rocks
always
are.
be there and not over here or
Yeah,
not.
it'll be on
That's why I had
the,
The rocks.
it'll be on the
Yeah, the rocks
application.
are
There's a
the,
giant
She
pipe.
would
can
try to
mark
get
a
the
rock on
septic
her rock wall.
Drainage project.
No, we
Where
don't
it's
need
gonna
that
line
either.
up.
Just to keep it simple for everybody, like, you know, if
until-
everybody else says, you know,
until-
hey, you're a foot over, you can say, no, I'm not, because here's my permanent
The
mark.
exception
Yeah,
goes
I-
with her, not with the property, so.
Yeah, I
she
think
moved
the
it
point
to
of
site.
reference
Right.
could be that pile of rocks.
Yeah, it's a huge pipe that.
Yeah, I
can't
don't
go
think that's
anywhere.
a problem.
And it has a bifold.
We know how to use a
It
tape
has a
measure.
bi-
Just
I
I believe,
doesn't come out, it only
I
goes
believe on
Okay.
Google Earth.
that valve.
Okay.
that's-
got a valve.
Yeah.
Special valve.
You
White
can,
valve.
you can get the.
Exact location.
Okay.
Yeah, once
Yeah,
in
seems to be a good
something-
mark.
something like-
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
friend something.
you know, a reference point,
Mhm.
you know, moving
Yeah.
forward.
It's not,
That
nothing
we
you
can
wanna
have.
do on every dock.
For everybody.
but You might wanna, for
Yeah.
those that are,
Right,
normal issues.
fair enough. All right.
And then, so once it's decided, then that will be the place it will go, correct?
As you apply each year, you will indicate
Right,
that.
and
Okay.
and since we, you know, if we approve it this year, then next year shouldn't be an issue.
This is really big, yeah, been
Right.
going on for a very long time.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
supposed to be a map on file of each dock. Okay, and you have yours there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's got all the dimensions on it,
Mhm.
but you don't have to resubmit that every year unless it changes.
But I've been a doc since 2007 in application.
Oh, but you've got a new map.
Yeah,
with
I have,
your
I've
application.
had a doc with you guys since 2007 in
Okay.
Right,
that same location.
right, yes.
Yeah, and now we have a new location.
And
So-
you've indicated.
The work that Suffield did with that pipe, who, is somebody reaching out? Are we still gonna follow up to make sure that
No.
with whatever work was done there?
You really want to do that?
No,
Kevin?
that's nothing to do with this
Find
board.
out.
I'm not worried about, I'm just saying, well, how do we know that if we're calling that the line, is it?
We're just
really the line?
agreeing to,
Yeah, we're agreeing.
we're just agreeing
Because
to.
it's Suffield's work. But I also
In good
did
faith, we're
ask,
agreeing on that.
I did ask Colin Wall to check into it again.
Yeah,
and he
I
was
got that
looking
pipe
into
in
it
the wrong
today.
place. We don't-
So
Mhm.
I will follow up with him and see if he's found anything.
You don't want to bring up the old jog feud again.
No.
Oh, right? Like,
Oh, no.
There's history, there's
Okay,
history.
So,
somebody paid to
Okay.
do it.
all right.
So 2 o'clock on.
2 o'clock on
go
Saturday.
on Saturday.
Okay.
2 on Saturday.
Thank you so much for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Gail.
Chris, or is it-
What's that?
You need a motion to continue it, or you just?
It's not a public hearing, so we don't need to, but we will just invite everybody back.
I think, yeah, the other side.
I
should
think,
be-
to save Dean, I think the minutes should just say that,
Discussion.
just discussion,
Discussion.
no decision.
But that's what confused me because there's that. Looks like the header for what we're talking about here.
We'll see.
All right, Noble Speed, subdivision. 292-0280, request for extension of order of conditions.
Hi.
Keep it going, keep it going. All right, welcome back.
Some sort of nuts and chocolate. too.
Jeff, whenever you're ready, actually can reintroduce yourselves again.
Jeff Smith, Sylvania Associates, and Jesse Saltmarsh Brothers Construction.
Thank you.
Here from Noble Steve. So thanks for bird dogging that.
Which
Thanks
part?
for figuring it- Well, the email just explaining that one or the other is needed, so we have the deed restriction for the open space. And so took it, he signed it today and got it notarized. So it goes to the next step would be need both page 18. I didn't have time to make copies and I don't have paper.
So so this, you said deed restriction to the open space. Which
So
is-
No work can be done within space. I've got a
Right.
Plan showing the open space.
Which that's the requirement that is for planning for the non-traditional subdivision. Not necessarily what we need for the fill.
Yeah, if we're talking in lieu of the 401 water quality certification, you
Right,
can do a deed restriction, conservation restriction.
right.
That's what Rebecca wanted opted to do at the time. And that's what
So
the
we
way.
have an updated version of that with current dates. Did you get that from your attorney?
Yeah, that's.
Is this the same as the conservation restriction that was
Yeah.
sent to me? And our town council still reviewing it to see if it's
Okay.
acceptable.
All right.
So there was one thing, and this was just John Goddard and I talking today. Cause he's also curious about this, and he did a little digging and he just pulled up. I think it was lot 21. And looked at their deed, I think is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
And in the deed, it says, subject to Noble Steed Crossing definitive subdivision, declaration of covenants and restrictions dated August 16th, 2017, and recorded and said registry in book 21818, page 421. So I have the covenant. And it does talk about on number 16 on that page 5, number 16, it says wetland areas.
Okay.
Any and all wetland areas as determined by the town of Southwick's Conservation Commission shall not be disturbed or altered in any way after construction of the subdivision roads and driveways. So this is more along the lines of what we're looking for. However, this document, I believe, is only good for 26 years. So that's where John and I kind of left off, where we're not sure if this is acceptable for DEP. And I haven't had a chance to ask Mark Stinson about this yet. This is all new stuff.
Open space or for the,
This is for the
for the,
subdivision. It says wetland area. So this is in the covenant for the whole subdivision,
right, so
Right.
that's what they're looking in lieu of the 401 lot policy.
perhaps. The hiccup is that this is only good for a certain amount of time.
Any conservation restriction is only good for a certain amount of time unless it goes through the state. And the state approves it, then
Right, and I think this,
it's a perpetuity. That's what we want for the open space. We want the open space to be done in perpetuity,
That's
And-
what the conservation restrictions.
yeah, so that's separate.
right?
So in order for him to do work and fill in the wetland area, he needed to have 401 or a deed restriction,
Right.
which is what I think this is
That's what-
on the lines of. However, I'm concerned that it only lasts for about 26 years. And they don't have to renew it after that. I think the association votes if they want to continue that.
Well, no, what that does is allows us to do the work, then the conservation restriction is in place forever.
But the conservation restrictions for the open space only, not for the entire
Yeah, but nobody's
subdivision.
doing any more work there once it's done.
It's very possible for someone to do work down the lines and in different lots.
Yeah, but I think it's only required for the, not required in perpetuity, just required for the 26 years, whatever it is.
I'm not sure.
You
This
check with
is,
the DEP, 'cause
well,
that's-
yeah, and so this is all new stuff that I got today, this afternoon. John gave it to me. So I'm gonna ask Mark Stinson if this is what he's actually looking for. And if that's the case, then that is all set. But if it's not,
It's actually federal, not state for this one, this conservation restriction. I think it's federal, so it wouldn't go through the state for perpetuity. Correct, Jeff, is it because it's isolated
I don't-
wetlands that falls under the Army Corps of Engineers, right?
I don't see that this crossing really meets the standard for an Army Corps permit. I mean, it's a pretty small wetland area that's being crossed. And it's outside of the deed restriction. The road crossing is outside the deed restriction. It's gonna be a replicated wetland built to take care of the crossing, but I don't,
Isn't it isolated wetlands now? It's not state jurisdiction.
well, I think it's a BVW, although there are breaks in the wetland, in the delineation. And I don't have the delineation report. I only have copies of the original plan.
It's IBW.
It could be, and if, in that case, it may meet the half acre or quarter acre.
But anyway, I think it was
They said,
within the
yeah.
order conditions anyway, so we really can't change that right now.
This covenant stuff is kind of outside of my
I can't
knowledge.
Change anything in the order conditions according to DEP, so.
When I talked to Mark Stinson, his only concern was that to check the resource areas that they hadn't changed. They had walked down along there, there aren't many flags that needs to be reflagged, and I mean, I can reflag it, or even whoever did it,
Yes.
they flag it. But I think that this document is designed to protect the rest of the wetlands after the crossing is done. That's what we're trying to move forward and get it done.
So are you looking to ask for an amendment so you can not have to do that?
Not have to do what?
Conservation restrictions for the.
No, we're trying to do the conservation. That's what I think we're doing.
Yeah, I think
We'd
we're
wanna
just
put in
trying
the
to
order
figure out,
condition.
yeah, trying to figure out what exactly we need and if this is sufficient.
Did you say the town council's reviewing it?
I gave it to them,
Okay. No,
so
that's good.
they have it.
Because the legal language about covenants and everything is gonna be on my knowledge base. I'm not a
Attorney.
an attorney. I'm not a surveyor.
Mhm.
So I can tell you where the wetland is. And this processes are for that and
Or should we wait till we have that before we making decisions on?
I think that'd be,
Well, you just really need to order conditions to continue.
I don't see why we couldn't continue the order conditions. We're not making a.
I'd hold off on that.
You think so?
We also we're talking about increasing the bond
Bond,
amount as
right.
well. So, and that would be, they would need to request an amendment. We can't tell them.
Okay, that's true. We did discuss that
Right.
last time.
so you need us to
You want
request
that back?
an
Or,
amendment to the bond. What did we talk about? 25? That was the last time.
We can look
ask
at,
them.
Yeah, I
yeah, we
think.
can look it up.
You need a
Keep
request
kicking
for,
the can down the road here, you know.
Right.
that's why.
I'd like to actually work with
Yeah.
John Goddard and, because there's other people in on this now, it's not just us. Planning board, I've been reading about it in the paper, you know, and we should all work together on it to make sure we're not stepping on anybody, each other's toes on it either. Planning board says one thing, we say another, and,
Hmm.
you know, I want to make sure that we.
Want to make sure we have our timelines,
Well, we were here at the
consolidated.
inception of this whole project.
Yeah.
Sitting at this table where they talked about so much is gonna be open space and they're not gonna touch this and then there was that whole area that's by the road coming into it was gonna be left wooded, which it is now.
We just don't want Jesse going back to the select board, so, well,
Yeah,
or the planning board saying, well, they told me I can't do that now, and
Yeah.
but you told me I can, 'cause I've seen that
it's
happen way too
confusing,
many
yeah,
times.
yeah,
It's good for him to have a clear vision.
right, right.
Well, the
Right.
problem is that we gave them a schedule now.
We should
Of
work
April
with that
1st.
visual and,
Well, I know it's starting April 1st.
right.
And what's the schedule, starting the box culvert?
No, we can't do anything without the conservation restriction.
Our next meeting is April 1st, so on that meeting, we can hopefully have this all worked out with the planning board and everybody. Well, John Goddard works in the same room as you, we can work it out,
Mhm.
see what coincides, you know, we do cross over a lot of places.
Can he be here?
We could ask him to be here, yeah.
Wouldn't that be the best way to go, just get it
But
from the
in
horse's
the
mouth?
meantime, if we can come to some kind of consensus, so when we
Right,
get here
right.
April 1st, we can say, okay, we're gonna sign
Right.
off on it.
Right, is there
Isn't
anything
a lot of
else?
time. Really, a week,
All
all right.
right, so you need us put in a request for an amended order of conditions, which that's the same form we already submitted, but you need us to. What do you need changed on that?
Right.
Well, we're gonna look up the bond amount and I thought we were gonna have a
Bond
timeline.
amount. Thank you. Yep.
Their timeline should coincide with.
That's what we want, exactly what we want to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
timeline and say.
That's what we're.
Cause I've been,
collaborating on.
meeting with Randy and John on a weekly basis for the last. Like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Developing a schedule. And we've been working out there. You know, slowly but surely, you know. Trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
So,
And we want to keep it realistic, but again. We want it to keep going forward.
Yeah, make sure we're all working together, going in the same
Quickly as
direction.
That's right,
possible.
that's right.
well, I'm just saying, like, we've already, like, we're moving forward with the stuff, but. Like,
I read
there's
about it
a
in the
big,
paper.
well, no, there's a bigger problem if I don't follow that schedule than whether
That's
I
why we're gonna make.
follow your.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said we
your
want to make it
conservation
realistic as well.
restriction.
Yeah.
So when we help you to delineate that timeline, it won't be interfering with what you've already got going on.
We don't have to schedule a special meeting or anything, so it's on the 1st and that falls right in the timeline, so we'll.
right, why don't we, just to be on the safe side, as far as what Mark Stinson requested, I'll go out and reflag the wetland between now and the next meeting. I'll give you a heads up when it's done, if you guys want to go out and look at it afterwards.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you, Jeff.
and so I'm gonna reflag. I'll do, where am I head? I'll do the downstream. I'll reflag the upstream also, so it's very clear where the resource area is.
Okay.
It's basically, it's a ditch. But in this area where the crossing is, it does open up downstream. Okay, so request bond amount change, and we were gonna double check that. I thought we said it was gonna be 25,000, but I'm not positive of that.
I thought we
We'll
said 30,
confirm
but
it.
We can,
I think we did like 40 or 50.
Yeah, I didn't write
It
it down.
was
last week.
30.
Maybe we did it though.
I was,
5,000 was another project. I don't remember that. Sorry.
I mean, that's what, if that's what the commission wants.
Okay. We'll make sure before we put it in writing.
Yep.
There is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's different.
Timeline. And we had talked about access for the replication and
Yeah.
where you guys, we wanted that identified.
Right, so I need to get a copy of the construction plans, because the replication plan wasn't in this set that we have. So I'll talk to you about that and get a copy of the replication, so we can figure out access on that, because I'm thinking that we're probably gonna want to come in on the west side of the wetlands, because it's kind of steep over here. But I'm not positive of that yet. Okay, and then the other thing, so he's been doing work there to get things cleaned up, and I just wanted to he's fixed the slope on the east side coming down so that the drainage isn't going down the south side of the slope. It goes in across to the north now and into the upland woods where it can kind of infiltrate and percolate in better. So I think that's
I'm gonna pass around
Okay,
your
good.
phone, sorry.
That's okay. And then also, you had noted that I accidentally gave you two of the same erosion. Pictures.
Thank you.
Yep. I already looked at that. Okay. All right.
So, sir,
Is Jeff here for the North Vining subdivision possible
I mean, there's
violation?
Skip over to that.
there's no real update on that. Aside, we wanted to schedule a site visit. We could schedule a site visit now that the weather's better. To have a look at the flagging.
I'm good, we could scratch out, yeah.
Yep.
Do you want, I mean, I would like to schedule a site visit with you guys, because we were supposed to follow up with that once the weather got better.
Well, why don't we maybe make it on Saturday after we do the dock,
Before,
or before we could do it too.
and then go to the dock and then get him.
Okay.
And
I don't think I,
Jeff,
what time is it gonna be on Saturday?
would, Mehmet, what were you thinking?
What time, how long
The-
do we need for this one?
It's a good walk.
It's a good walk.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
half hour, 45 hour.
I'd say an hour.
You know,
Half an hour, half an hour.
You
I'm
think,
not gonna
Jeff?
be able to do Saturday.
Okay, forget
No,
it. Then that makes it easier.
We got plans on Saturday evening already, and
Okay.
so I'm sorry. You
Saturday,
guys are welcome to walk it if you want. It's flagging is
that's a good
very
idea.
clearly
Huh?
flagged.
Just go look at it.
Yeah, you can go look at it.
One. That one,
Okay,
then we go at two.
I can't go because I'm out of town.
okay. 1 o'clock then?
Yeah.
Make it, Andy, you ever busy for the?
1:30, going once.
1, we'll do 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
That way, make sure we get the
So
the other
we're
one on
at
time.
now. One,
You'll have to be our timekeeper when we're there, Mehmet.
all right. You gonna send a reminder note?
So you
Right,
said
sure.
That would be great.
1 o'clock PM, Mort Vining
You get a
subdivision.
reminder note, 1 o'clock at,
All right, if I can be there at 1 o'clock, I'll be there at 1 o'clock.
Noble Steve.
That'd be
and then we go
appreciated,
to-
but
That's Noble Steve,
Thank
to the-
right?
good effort.
No, more
Okay.
more binding,
Other than
right?
2 or 2.
More finding
Yeah,
that
we're
one?
gonna be at 2 at the other place, Mort Vining.
More
Oh,
finding it.
whoa, okay, switching gears.
Don't
Down
copy
here,
me.
down here.
Probably be there.
Okay.
The other student might be
Glad you
running.
told.
Yeah, we were gonna have Jeff talk on the Mort Vining, but we don't have any more information. We're gonna go out and do the
So site,
demise on it first. So
got it.
we're
Okay,
gonna do that.
now I got you.
That's why we switched.
And there's gonna be a reminder email with directions. but
Just fault.
that's-
Okay.
We'll be a test.
We will
All right, so you
see.
guys are all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jeff, thanks for coming.
All right.
All right, okay, we're gonna move on to the request for permission to access Sofinowski property after sunset for stargazing purposes.
No update,
Okay, scratch it. Granville Gordon kiosk roof.
no update. Brian didn't get back to me.
Okay, so we're looking for the same materials as the North Pond kiosk. North Pond Conservation Property Recyclables update.
No update.
Discussion on docks not completely removed from the lake.
There is an update. So some letters got sent out to those who we knew that their docks are still kind of like halfway in the water. We got a response from Yellow Docks, Congamon Heights Association. And they apologized and they said that they removed that one that was partially in. So that's an update on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, just a question, anything on Frank Grillo? We were gonna start finding him?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything in my email, but I have about 22 messages in my voicemail that I have not been able to listen to yet.
Sabrina sent him a letter.
Yes.
Certified mail.
Yeah.
with The ticket in it. And all the documentation saying that you guys voted.
Mhm.
And that the findings started. Will start 7 days after receipt of the conservation, of the certified mail.
Yeah.
And will continue until such time as he submits his 2024 application. It's 10 days for his 2024 application.
okay.
Sabrina made that letter up and signed it.
Yes.
Yes.
And he may have called.
Okay.
He may have called and I just haven't gotten to the voicemail yet.
Okay. That's no reason to up your hours.
It is, please.
Right. Okay.
Going
and,
insane.
You know, as far as the importance of removing those docks completely is there are docks floating around.
Oh, yes.
So
Oh, so there's one at the North Pond property. We should go pick that up.
there's one on my property.
Sell it off and
Really?
So,
I
yeah,
started
you gotta visit
by my property.
Finders,
so
finders keepers.
Really?
So-
That is the
Big one.
rule.
Salvage right.
even though we didn't have a big
Finders
ice
keepers.
season, there's still some
Floating
floating docks.
Of course, yeah, people.
Yeah,
They do get let go sometimes.
yeah, I don't need this anymore.
Let the stuff float. to
Let's-
Right?
Yeah, let's let this float
That's
away.
how we get our
Right.
buoys and stuff.
Just give it a kick, you know?
See you in the spring.
No suggestion, guys.
Send them out, you know.
Okay.
Good.
107 South Loomis,
No update.
okay. We just did Mort Vining. Possible wetland violation, 31 Sam West Road.
There isn't an update, but I think I should ask Ryan what's going on with that because this is around the time when they said that they would start working on it, I
Snow's
think.
gone, the leaves aren't there.
Right, and the
Right.
frogs are gonna start laying soon,
Right.
so, yeah. I'm gonna try to remember to get back to him on that.
Papers are out.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, and update landowner wants to donate 13 Berkshire Ave to Conservation Commission.
No update. Do you want me to just take that off until after?
Until we get something, yes.
Yeah, cause
Question
it's,
I was pondering today, what benefit is it for the town to take that property? It costs a ton of money to take it and acquire it, so come off the tax rolls. Will it be better protected once the town owns it? Or is it already protected under all these laws anyways? He can't do anything with it now.
Well, that's a good question, Andy, but you know, we've had this discussion many times and you never know until somebody tries to develop property. I've seen places you would bet your bottom dollar couldn't be developed and they've been developed, right? But on the other hand, you know, if you say, what's in the town's benefit, would talk about financially or just,
Like,
you know, anytime you
spend
buy
all-
land, it costs money, you know, is to
Mhm.
protect the environment, you know, that's the.
Right.
And I've heard this argument so many times saying, well, they can't build on that property anyways, Stefanowski property, that was the town meeting, I remember that, people were yelling, that's a bunch of swamp, you can't build. And.
Right.
And look over on, Reservoir Road. Swampy Joe, we built those.
And that's names.
You would have bet money nobody could have built on that property, the neighbors are going, how could you build there? They said they couldn't build there for years. College Highway. The one for the storage facility up there, how many years has that been saying that's absolutely, you know, so you never know. It's a good question.
Somebody comes through with a plan that works eventually and.
We're just, I mean, what we're looking at buying here is just the water part. Not like
There's-
the apartment house or, I mean, College Highway has the water part, but it also has to go land
Yeah.
back. All you gotta do is get.
Right, get there,
across.
right.
And all we're buying here is the water part. It's just like,
You could possibly essentially do something with that, but I don't think we're looking at, you know. Making money in the town, you know, financially is it beneficial, just any land. It costs money to do anything, you know,
So that
so.
might provide access from the rail trail to the lake.
Right.
You don't know, I
Right.
mean, what happens if you get a grant, like one of our trail grants might be able to put a trail there.
It's only if you guys give it,
Huh?
it's only if you guys give it approval.
Right.
Diane wants parts.
Yeah, well, we sometimes don't have a choice. And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the walk,
You guys
I like
just
the idea.
prohibit it. No, we can't just prohibit things that has to be done in the proper way and people will fight you and you try to just
Right.
stop people from
Oh,
doing
right.
things on their property,
Yeah.
so. I've heard this argument so many times. but-
No, yeah. No, so much arguing is just like, what's the huge?
Yeah, Mrs. Gale,
If I may chime in on that.
certainly,
The
certainly.
planning board, and part of the master plan was to look at tiny houses. So potentially someone could put a tiny house on that little lot.
There you go.
I think it's also good because we're Conservation Commission. We know how to care for the land. And once we get that, we'll have the ability to care for the land. Whereas if it was in private hands, you know, someone could dump,
Right.
dump something in the water where at least we know that, to the best of our ability, we're protecting it.
If we go after prime building properties. Then we get an argument there too, you know, like.
Right.
The golf course, when
Yeah.
that was,
The tax base.
people wanted us to preserve the golf course, but.
Right.
Can't preserve everything and that was,
Yeah, and what benefit would that be to preserve?
Right, I was just seeing this land is so very restricted already.
yeah.
Mhm. No, it's a great
Yeah.
question. It's a great discussion.
You're buying a puddle,
Yeah.
I mean,
and I get it.
We're
and I'd
not-
love
Yeah.
to Put the trail across it and all that.
Yeah.
Just like,
No,
wait,
it's-
Andy, we're not
absolutely.
buying it. It's being donated.
but we're spending $26,000 on an attorney fees or whatever you're spending.
We're not not 26,000. You guys approved like $9,000 to round up.
That's
That-
money that we
yeah.
had sitting in the,
Yeah,
to be spent on.
For-
reserve.
for those
problem in
purposes.
Favor of it.
Yeah.
Just
No, it was an excellent question.
Yeah.
How do you support the argument?
But you'll hear it at town meeting.
we're not leaving yet, guys.
No, we're not leaving it. We still have a executive.
Actually, oh, go ahead.
I need some advice. The tea house. I've seen today's paper, they wanna do outdoor cooking. I heard earlier that they wanted to put a ramp from the building out towards the gazebos. My question is, that's a 200-foot buffer, is that correct?
And
Not buffer.
It's a river.
It's a riverfront, which is more protected than the
Okay,
buffer,
so- but
actually.
it's 200 foot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much that's anything from the building towards the brook.
Essentially, yep.
You can't do anything, disturb anything on the ground without our permission. Is that
Mm.
correct?
also a floodplain. So that
Yeah,
ramp would
floodplain
be in the
too.
floodplain as well. And
Is this the
I think we had a meeting
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
Mr. Salvini was gonna do some
I heard it on
calculations.
Facebook.
Yeah.
They had to do some
I haven't seen it.
compensatory storage somewhere or something for that to happen.
They're going to.
I think so.
We didn't
They're
have
going to planning board first this time to make sure
Yeah.
that before they come ask us to do it, that
Smoke
they're able to
out
actually
and
do
something
it.
else.
Which is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, so
So
It
Actually,
hasn't come here
They,
yet.
they
Ron.
should have done that originally. God,
Planning
it hasn't
board
come here
knows,
yet
the
again.
planning board knows they have to come back here. If
They know they have to come back here.
they do know that. Okay, that was really what I was getting
Yeah.
at.
actually, I'm glad you brought that up because in the back, there are now a bunch of posts in the ground to support grapes. And I wasn't sure if that was allowable or not.
posts in the ground.
The posts in the ground, and now he's planting grapes. I don't know if he's gonna be fertilizing them.
Are those in the riverfront area?
Yeah, some of it at least.
Posts are 4x4s. There's a lot of.
There's a lot of posts back there.
Well, how
I
measure.
saw the
how much-
pictures, I
how
didn't
much
see the
area
distance.
that
I didn't thought he
they-
was out of the
Because
riverfront.
when they did the gazebos, the DEP says that, you know, when you do sonotubes, it's almost negligible.
Okay.
You know, it's not a whole lot, so.
And that's why they were able to lift those out of the floodplain, right?
And they
Water
were almost
goes
in the
underneath it.
floodplain that last big rainfall we got.
Yeah, came right up there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
and it has
blowing
come up
pretty
there
good.
before. We've seen,
He
Everything's
did have a pile of wood next to the garbage bin, which is right next to the parking lot, and some of that wood was floating down the river. So I contacted him to remove it out of the floodplain, and he did so relatively quickly. So
Good.
he lost some wood down the river, down the water.
all right, nice.
Oh, good notice.
Really quick, sorry. So our Board of Health guy, Mr. Tom Hibbert, is trying to organize purchasing caps with the town of Southwick on it. He says he's estimating around $30 a piece. Would you guys be interested in getting in on that? I believe we would have to pay.
Where's it going to get done?
I could use a hat.
Somewhere in Westfield,
I collect hats, so I'll read.
maybe by Elm's
Fred by
Pizza.
Design,
Is it by Elm's Pizza?
Fred by Design, that's.
Maybe.
That's across from Elm.
Yeah, I think that's
There
where
is
he's
some-
going.
Sorry,
There's nowhere else. Since when?
closed.
Oh.
You'd have to say butcher block now.
Yeah, they do a good job and it's a reasonable price over there.
So,
Is any of the money going for charity or
no, this is
not-
just to purchase
this
them.
is what it costs to buy them?
Yeah, so the hats themselves, and then they're going to stitch in like the emblem of the town of Southwick, I believe. So the stitching, I
The
think.
good old days, the select board used to buy his jacket.
Yeah.
I got one.
I still have mine.
I got one a long time ago.
Can I request a cowboy?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Ask Tom,
Probably.
maybe.
Yeah.
So, and I forgot, I didn't have enough time to get our, what we have left over in our funds.
TJ Welch.
If you guys are interested, I don't know how many.
When does he
people-
need to know by?
Soon, very soon. I told him I'd run it by you guys during this meeting.
So we would donate
Oh,
to
Norman and
Buzz or
Andy.
just buy them out.
Or
We
just
would buy
find
him
one-
outright.
Just
yeah.
buy them outright.
He just needs a number.
And
Yes, I mean,
we would.
If you
pay.
want one, I would say you want one.
Conservation would have to pay for it.
Norm for sure, Andy for sure.
I'll buy one.
Chris will buy one.
So how many people then?
It's gonna have this. on.
That's four.
I'll put $5 in for Sabrina to get one.
Okay.
How's that?
I think it's coming from one of
Our
our
budget.
accounts.
Oh.
And why wouldn't you?
There's some conservation would have to buy it, like you're phoning enough person to put it.
Yeah.
Me?
We'll call it.
I assume it's green. I think he said green.
Green with white.
The
So I
nice
think
jacket.
I did.
I
What is it?
got the jacket.
But I think, you know, we
Never get to
discussed
wear it.
having something to wear when we go for site
Right, and
visits and
that-
things like that. So that would be a good
That's the
indicator
thing.
of what
Yeah,
here is
right.
official business.
Exactly. So
Hey,
it's not like you're,
We used to have
It's-
ID badges
right.
too,
Oh.
back in the old days.
I have.
we could
So
still
I have-
probably get
still
that
get 'em?
done.
I
Yeah.
have my jacket, I have a shirt.
I have an ID.
Hat would be
All I
nice.
need is a hat, really. So,
Right.
We have all that stuff and you still don't wear them to the site visits.
Yeah, because it's raining out.
Lucas be around mine.
I would love to get a hat.
I think you should get a hat.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I'll take a
so-
motion. To expend the
Thank you.
funds to get the hats for those of us who would like one.
Sure, sure. I'll
So
second that motion.
if everyone in the commission plus me and Lucas wants one, it's gonna be around $270.
I'll pay for mine. Yeah, I'll pay for mine.
Where's it coming out of?
It would come out of a fund. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I'll kick in.
Yeah, because our supplies is depleted. That fund is depleted, but we have other lines that we could probably take it out of.
Well, if you got money, you better spend it before you take it away from it.
Yeah, that's right, that too.
Better check that. They don't let.
May not get it next year because they'll say, they want that's for that.
We're gonna go back and put a freeze on our funds now.
All right, Carlton, Dennis.
So
Okay,
what's the, I mean, we can buy it our own or not?
It would be under a PO that. Yeah, I think to make it less complicated, it would
so
go.
he would order them all. He would
Okay.
need them,
Whatever's the
they
least.
cover the money from us, and he would order them all through a PO, or how's that gonna work?
I think we would be buying it under each
Own separate,
line item,
so there'd be
each
more than one
department.
PO.
Cause he's asked the DPW as well and.
Find out if they're
Yeah,
fitted or
and I think-
adjustable, probably
Well,
adjustable, you know.
We'll
fitted-
find
gotta
out when
be
we get them.
Sometimes
Going
they're
into
fitted, you
executive
know, for
session,
the
too.
guy's head.
Yeah, if there's an update. I've already asked, but
So we are doing that.
as soon as our hat discussion's over, we can do that.
Okay.
Hurry up before Sabrina
We have an
does something
executive,
else.
we
Okay.
have an executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter C 30A, exception number 4. Move to go in executive session, to discuss the deployment of security personnel or devices or strategies respected thereto. Not to convene an open session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.